Good morning, everyone. We're, hey, Larry. We're going to get started this morning. Welcome, everyone. It's great to see you here on a beautiful day and for a beautiful occasion. Uh, Thank you all for joining us today in the Hamilton Canal Innovation District as we celebrate another significant milestone in the development of this district and honor an individual who has contributed immeasurably to the progress we have seen here across our city over the years. This vision of the Hamilton Canal Innovation District first took form actually over 15 years ago when the city completed a master plan for the renewal of this 15-acre site, ideally situated in the heart of our city. And even before that, the jam plan that the city had done under the leadership of Brian Martin, who is here with us today. Brian Martin, former city manager. So this has been many, many years in the making. And from the outset, it became clear that what we had on our hands represented one of the most promising opportunities for a high-quality, mixed-use development in Massachusetts. We also knew that a lot of work would need to be done to prepare this district to support the kinds of private development that we hoped to attract. In the past 2 years, we've seen many of these critical pieces come together. Just over a year ago, we cut the ribbon on the Hamilton Canal Innovation District parking facility, a $38 million city-funded facility that marked the district's first completed ground-up construction project. We completed the construction of streets F and G and the accompanying utility work providing access points throughout this district. And earlier this year, we opened the signature bridge that we are here today to commemorate in honor of this very special person. By creating access between the northern and southern portions of the Hamilton Canal Innovation District, this 87-foot bridge represents a vital component of the district's master plan. I also want to welcome and recognize Wind Development here today, Larry Curtis, Mike Puttinger, and is Mike O'Brien here? Usually I see him, but former Senator Steve Panagiotakis sends his best. Unfortunately, he's in Boston and can't be here, but Wind Development also played a key role in this district. They served as a master developer originally, and they completed the first housing project right here behind us at 201 Canal Street. Much needed housing, and we certainly hope going forward they will continue the partnership on the other side of the canal for other exciting projects. But none of these things could ever have happened alone. Every step required a collaborative effort from leaders at every level of government. Many, many people have been involved, and you'll hear from some of those people today. But first, it is my honor and pleasure to introduce to you our mayor, the mayor of the city of Lowell, Sokhary Chau, to bring greetings of the city.
Good morning, everyone. This is the month of Cambodian New Year as well. And this ceremony this morning, it would not be complete. We're on the bridge near the body of water, and we need a little bit of rain to make it a complete ceremony, blessing ceremony. Very honored this morning to welcome everyone. Senator Paul Tsongas actually came to speak at my high school long time ago when I was in high school. And I didn't realize that it was going to be a bridge forward to today when we're honoring Congresswoman Niki Tsongas, the bridge in her honor. I have known Congresswoman Tsongas for all her work that she did for this city, from obtaining $2 million for this bridge project. And she's really dedicated to the entire city of Lowell throughout her entire career, including bringing over $13 million for the development in this area. She's dedicated her life to working with all the nonprofit partners throughout the city. As you know, without our nonprofit partners, many of the services we have, many of the programs much of the quality of life in our city would not have happened. Congresswoman, she dedicated her life just working with everybody with the arts program, and as Madam Manager mentioned, just through the city. I was involved in a judging of the Mosaic Lowell student arts program during the Winter Festival, when the Mosaic Lowell programs asked, what would like to see, what is the vision of Lowell? And this bridge here is being dedicated to Congresswoman Tsongas. It was the bridge that really, in many of the art design of the students throughout the many schools throughout the city, it was a vision, this bridge from the past to the future. So I strongly believe that today, when we honor this bridge to Congresswoman Tsongas, this is not just a memory and honor for her current work. It really is a bridge to the future, and it symbolized that. And on behalf of the city of Lowell, I would like to congratulate her family, and the legacy that she left behind. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Chau. And as I mentioned earlier, the Hamilton Canal and the realization of this took collaborative effort at many levels of government. And we have members of government at all levels here today. I'd like to take a moment to recognize some of those who are joining us here today. First, I'd like to recognize currently the Dean of our delegation, soon to be City Manager, Tom Golden. Also here is, of course, Councilor Nuon, and you will be hearing from him shortly. Also from the delegation, we have Representative Roddy Mom. And you'll hear from Vanna Howard, representative as well, very soon. We're honored to have our partners some who are here and all who've been supportive. First, we have the president of Middlesex Community College, Phil Zisson. And we also are thrilled to have Vice Chancellor from the University of Massachusetts, Lowell, Julie Chen, and maybe there's another title in her future. I don't know.
I don't taint this process.
Where's Marty Meehan?
Don't taint this process.
Welcome, Julie. We also have here Emily Byrne from Congresswoman Trahan's office. Thank you, Emily. From Ed Markey's office, we have Liam Horsman. Thank you for coming, Liam. And from, I'm trying to read my writing, which isn't going so well. I'll come back to you. Richard Howe, our Register of Deeds. Please welcome Paul Glavey from the Littleton Select Board. And also joining us is Rodney Elliott, former city councilor, former mayor, and current candidate for state representative. So, as I mentioned, many of these things happen by collaboration over the years, and it does take a lot of collaboration. This particular naming came about, as many things do. They originate in the Lowell City Council. And this dedication came about when Councilor Vesna Nuon filed a motion in the City Council in 2019. And as a result of his motion, we're here to name the bridge today. So please join me in welcoming Councilor Vesna Nuon.
I have a long list of Niki accomplishments, but I'm not going to read all of them. First, join me to acknowledge Niki families in the audience, Ashley and her partners, Katina, Molly, Jim, and Niki's sister-in-law, Talia. Yes. It's an honor to be here to celebrate the bridge dedications to Niki. And a lot of you know, a lot of you benefited, organization benefited from Niki work, 11 years career as member of Congress. I am proud that she's honored with the naming of this bridge. Niki has secured, as the mayor indicated, $2 million from federal funding to build this bridge. That spurred the state to invest in the bridge and allow this bridge to be built. Niki's also ushered a piece of legislation to author to transfer federal land to the city to help build this project, the Hampton Canal project. There's 9 bridges that now wouldn't touch. Bridge that connect the city of Lowell, the city hall, to the community. 8 bridge are now bridge that Niki have advocated for and got funding, $13 million to fix all those bridges, and now city own this bridge. Niki's accomplishment is not only just transportation issue alone. She has advocating for grant, for nonprofit, for expansion of Lowell Community Health, for the expansion of the Lowell General Hospital, for helping youth at UTEC, for helping Lowell Public School and MCC. The list go on and on. Let us remember that when we cross this bridge, that it is Niki's contribution to this city, a big contribution to the city, and that's how we have the Hampton Canal and the Hampton Canal District. So congratulations, Niki.
I'd also like to recognize and welcome Susan Levine from the Lowell Community Health Center, a neighbor right here in the district. Also joining us today from Senator Elizabeth Warren's office is Carolyn Friedman. Thank you for being here, Carolyn. And of course, we have here with us Sam Poulton. Sam wears many hats. Today we're going to say he's here representing, well, I don't know, Sam. Is it Chelmsford Committee? Maybe it's WCAP. Is this where I'm supposed to say everybody gets it? Okay, everybody gets it. Welcome, Sam. It's my pleasure next to introduce to you Representative Vanna Howard. So Representative Howard is one of our newest members of the delegation, and she has hit the ground running. Let me tell you, she is everywhere. And this happens to be in the heart of Representative Howard's district. So we're thrilled to have her here to bring greetings. Representative Howard.
Well, good morning, everyone. It is so great to see so many of you here, and so great to see Team Tsongas. What a reunion. Again, oh my gosh, I have missed you all. I have not seen some of you in so long. And some of you travel all the way here today from Washington, D.C. So great to be here with you. Words cannot describe how proud I am to be here today with Niki and all of you to commemorate this latest evidence of the lasting effect Niki continues to have in our community. But I only have 3 minutes to speak. As our Congresswoman for 12 years, and as my boss, mentor, friend, and supporter from then to now, there is no other person more responsible than Niki for the improvements we see all around us, including this beautiful new bridge. No doubt the late, great Senator Paul Tsongas had a large hand here as well. Niki had the same effect on me and so many others over that time. I learned so much from her over these years. And I would not be here today as the state representative for this district had it not been for my good fortune to have been hired by her. I learned really everything I know about public service from Niki. To find common cause and and purpose to improve the quality of our lives, to be accessible and responsive to those you have been so honored to serve, to find ways to bring disparate factions together, and most importantly, to listen. In similar fashion, this bridge, short and gorgeous as it is, has now for the first time connected two parts of our city that always seemed separated. Now you don't have to go around the city to get to this area anymore. My family and I, including our dog Buster, live right here. And we love the access we now have to this area by foot, and to be able to see a glorious canalscape on both sides. As you can see, this bridge, so aptly named, is a lasting metaphor and a daily reminder for all of us of Niki Tsongas' accomplishments, and most especially for the even tone and pure class she showed in finding positive outcomes in everything she did for us for so long. Thank you always, Niki, and thank you all for being here today.
Thank you, Vanna. That was fabulous. So it's my pleasure to introduce to you this morning the woman who we are honoring here today. Throughout her more than 10 years representing our district in Congress, Niki became a national leader on a host of critical issues in Washington, but she never lost sight of what was happening here in the city of Lowell. And she remained thoroughly engaged and involved in the major projects going on while she has been even representing us down in Washington. And of course she did much of the heavy lifting to secure funding to build the Signature Bridge, as has been mentioned here, the $2 million grant from the U.S. Economic Development Administration, as well as so many other important aspects of making this happen. The legislation that was mentioned, the land transfer, it sounds simple. I can assure you it wasn't. It took an act of Congress, and that is literally, it took an act of Congress, and Niki Tsongas shepherded that through. And the day that we were able to sit and sign the paperwork at the closing was just a hallelujah moment, Niki.
10 years later.
10 years later. So when I say it wasn't easy, it wasn't easy. But she did bring it home, and this is why we are able to continue this fabulous project in the Hamilton Canal District. I hope you like the color.
I love it.
Great. It was a little bit of a decision-making back and forth, and we wanted it to be special. So we are so pleased to dedicate this bridge today in honor of Niki, in recognition not only of all her efforts to kickstart the Hamilton Canal Innovation District, but for everything she has done for the city of Lowell. Even though she's been out of office for 3.5 years, we still see the impact of her work every day in this critical piece of infrastructure is a powerful example of that. Niki, without further ado, please welcome Niki Tsongas.
Thank you all, and I have to thank all you hearty souls who, we've been crossing our fingers and hoping the sun would shine. Well, the sun is in our hearts, but not overhead. So thank you so much for being here. It's great to share the stage with Eileen, who's in the closing days of her tenure as our city manager. She has served this community in so many ways over so many years. She has left us in great stead, and we are so grateful for it. Thank you, Eileen. And it's great to share the stage with Mayor Chau, Representative Howard. I have to say, I still get a special something in my heart when I say that. So proud of her. And Councilor Nuon, who's been a wonderful friend over the years. And thank you too to the Lowell City Council that voted in support of this naming. I appreciate it so much. And to stand up here with President Meehan, who's done so much for the university at large, for UMass Lowell in particular, and who served this district so ably when he too was in Congress. I had big shoes to fill when I followed in his footsteps, so it's great to be up here with Marty. You've heard my children are here and my grandchildren, and it's great to see them as I look out at Ashley and Maura and their kids Declan and Nina, at Katina and Paul and their sons Nico and Callum, and at Molly Tsongas and her daughter May. Amy is back on the Cape where she is teaching and just couldn't join us. And always here with my partner of many years, Jim O'Brien, and another kind of partner over ever more years than that, Thalia Tsongas Schlesinger, Paul's sister. You know, they say it takes a village to raise a family. It takes a fantastic staff to have a successful tenure as a member of Congress. And they were like a family. And they're all here. Thank you. In particular, I want to recognize Katie Enos, who was Chief of Staff, served brilliantly. I had some wonderful district directors over my tenure, starting with Brian Martin, who has done so much for this city. Chris Mullen, who made me walk a straight and narrow line and continues to serve this city so well, and who always seems to have my back. I thank you, Chris. And Ben Martello, who took on the closing days of our tenure and who served so well and who loves this city. And June Black, who, while not a district director, probably served this district longer than anyone, as she also worked for Congressman Meehan, and it's great to see her here. And I have some wonderful DC legislative staff here who I won't recognize, but I can tell you that we don't get anything done in Washington if we don't have great staff who follows through and makes sure we're dotting our I's, crossing our T's, and reaching out to all the people we have to deal with in order to get anything done. A quick story about the legislation that it created the land exchange. It happened once the Republicans had taken charge, taken the House of Representatives back in control. And I'm like, how did this happen? You know, how and what did we do? Well, I later learned the reason they did that is they don't want the federal government to own anything. So they will do anything they can to turk land back over to either a local community or the private sector. So we were grateful for the people across the aisle's help, but I better understand that maybe their intentions weren't as good as I thought. When I first came to Lowell, Massachusetts now 55 years ago, I was 21 years old. It was 1967. This city was not what it is today, but it had terrific bones. It had tremendous history that it grew to respect ever more. It had an architectural legacy like no other that the National Park has certainly helped to protect and preserve. But it was never seen as an end in itself. It was always a gateway to the future. But the future doesn't happen easily, and it's taken so many, whether those of us who serve in Congress, as I say, that's an opportunity never to be squandered. Those of us who have that great good fortune need to work every day to make a difference and find ways in which the federal government can be supportive of a community's vision for itself. But it was also my honor to be part of a family that not only wanted to help a community, but also wanted to shape a community. So people often ask me, who was your mentor in Congress? And I said, well, I didn't have a mentor, but I lived with the best role model you ever could have. So what I love about this bridge is it honors all that has happened here, but it recognizes there is much to be done, that it is never over. And as you've heard, it is a bridge between the past and the future. Let us hope many young people, many visionaries, many people who wish to call this place home and make it their own, enjoy crossing it. And as I certainly have several times I've crossed it, and I thank you so much for honoring me with a bridge that is a testament to both where we've been and where we want to go. Thank you.
Great job, Niki. Thank you. So last but certainly not least, we are thrilled today to have with us the president of the University of Massachusetts, Marty Meehan. Now, everybody knows Marty. Everybody knows he has served this community for many, many years. It doesn't matter what his actual title is. He's involved in everything, and I mean that in a very positive way, Marty. Thank you so much for all you've done. When you served us in Congress, when you were the chancellor here, you made unbelievable changes to the campus, to the University of Massachusetts at Lowell, bringing in so many new developments, state-of-the-art. You've put the university on the map. We're thrilled about that. And now continuing to serve the entire UMass system, and yet Lowell, we think, is special in your heart. So please join me in welcoming President Marty Meehan.
Thank you very much, Eileen. It's great to see so many folks here. And you know, yesterday was a historic time in the United States Senate as Justice Brown Jackson, the first African American in our history, appointed to the Supreme Court. And it's going to have such a positive impact on the country of everyone. And I was reminded, as Representative Vanna Howard talked about what inspired her to get into politics and to run for office, and it was Niki Tsongas. I served for 14 and a half years in the Congress, and I saw the number of women in the Congress rise dramatically. But I was part of the Massachusetts delegation, and every year when we took our delegation photograph, every single person was a man. And it was like that my entire term. In fact, until Niki Tsongas got elected, we hadn't had a woman serving in the United States Congress for 25 years, not since Peg Heckler. Make no mistake about it. Niki getting elected to the Congress sent a message to people all across this state that we have to get more women engaged in politics. I can tell you that Catherine Clark has told me she was inspired to run because of Niki Tsongas. I know that Laurie Trahan was inspired to run because of Niki Tsongas. And when Senator Warren decided she wanted to run, the first person out to support her was Niki Tsongas. My point is, Niki has had a dramatic impact, not just in the service, but the way she's inspired women across the state on all levels of government. It's not just the fact that we now have 4 members of the delegation who are women. It's the fact that there are more women serving in local office, in state office, in federal office because of Niki's contributions. I say first, thank you for that, Niki. And I also think it's had an effect in the community. Eileen was the first woman to ever be city manager. Jackie Maloney is the first woman ever in 140 years to run the university. And I believe that is in a part because of Niki being willing to put herself out. And every step of the way, she encouraged. She had the first all-women law firm in Lowell. I guess I'm showing my age, but that's been really, really important. I also want to say that we've talked a lot about Niki's she's done in the district, and Paul Tsongas really set the standard for service in this district. He always said we want a member of Congress who's going to be a national leader and get national attention on issues, but also. Most members of Congress at the time when Paul was there, they would stay in Washington. Paul would come home and work on economic development, and he did it when he was in the United States Senate, and it set a high bar for anyone who's ever had this seat, and I'm proud to say that every person who's had the seat has followed Paul's model. Niki has been a national leader, Now, as you all know, her father was in the Air Force, served in the Air Force, survived Pearl Harbor. She came from a military family. So when she got appointed to the Armed Services Committee, she knew a little bit about the military. she had a dramatic impact on the Armed Services Committee. She immediately took on the fact that more women were playing a role in the military, but they were being, in many instances, abused and not treated right. She didn't just call attention to it. She got together with a Republican, Mike Turner from Ohio, and said, we got to do something about this in a bipartisan way, because Niki knew in order to be effective nationally and in Washington, you have to find a way to work both sides of the aisle. And she was successful. She has been instrumental in providing service equipment for our troops, men and women who serve. But it was Niki that thought, you know, these Kevlar vests that we're getting all this money back for, we have all these women in combat, and we really don't have a Kevlar vest that's meant for women. So she inserted in the defense budget some language that said, let's do some research and figure out how we can make sure that the women who are serving in the front lines have the equipment that they need to be effective. So I'm probably going on longer than I should have, but I think it's important to recognize not just the local contribution that Niki has made, but the significant contribution she's made in encouraging women to get engaged and involved in politics, and the role she played as a national legislator. I'll close with a funny story. When I had left the Congress, I was still there, but I announced I was leaving, and Niki was running, and I was at a restaurant, Begla Restaurant, it's a Belgian place in Washington, with two of my best friends in Congress, Richie Neal and also Jerry Costello from Ohio. And this woman I didn't know came up to me, and she said, hi, are you Marty Meehan? I said, yeah, I'm Marty Meehan. She said, well, I'm a friend of Ashley Tsongas, and I just want to thank you for leaving the Congress to create an opportunity for Niki Tsongas to get elected. And I said, that's great, thank you very much, and blah, blah, blah. She went away, and she said, Richie Neal said to me, you don't know her, do you? You know, Marty, you made a smart decision to get out. When people start thanking you for getting out, it's time to get out. With that, we're now going to go over to the plaque and unveil the plaque. Thanks very much.
Oh, it's wonderful. Oh, so nice. That's great. It's so nice.